Tomazeski, I can tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed that little extra time each day before class started, and you helped me with my diet by eating my snacks. Naish Marie, Shorty, you have shown us that a small package can be feisty and fiery. And Julian, with you graduating, I can finally reclaim my title as the tallest man in the hallways. And lastly, Earl Stewart, don't think we've forgotten about our 2-on-2 basketball game against Mrs. Burnett and I. Parking lot after the ceremony. Although I cannot highlight every success or mention each and every one of you, I want you to know that you have all individually left your mark on our school. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge how many of you feel after reflecting on all the wonderful things you have done and memories you will have without noting that it is okay to feel like you didn't get to finish your story. I am sure I speak on behalf of every parent, teacher, and community member who wishes we could have watched the state title runs, the spring seasons, the musical, the prom, and so much more. But I want to let you in on a secret you have probably heard before. Time has a way of giving you perspective and closure. As you get older, the stories you tell about these achievements will get a little more grandiose. So let's just finish your stories now. How you'll probably be telling them at your 20-year reunion. The girls' basketball team did win states with a last-second alley-oop dunk from Beeler to Carter. Aubrey pinned 4 wrestlers at the same time to win states. Mariah and Izzy each bowled back-to-back perfect games with the last pin exploding to secure their back-to-back state titles. Jerica Petrella beat a cheetah, a real-life cheetah, to win nationals. Tyler is, of course, leading a dance circle at the reunion. Corbin traded in his heels for a 3-piece business suit and is driving a Ferrari. Earl still says Mrs. Burnett fouled him, which is why they lost. The point here is that in time, you will come to appreciate all of this. Class of 2020, on behalf of Dunkirk, I thank you for the fond memories. But please know, this is just the beginning of your journey, and we cannot wait to see what you accomplish. Congratulations and thank you. Please join me in a round of applause for the class of 2020. Now, I'd like to introduce our first speaker today. Mr. Michael Mansfield has come to Dunkirk after spending 23 years in education. He previously served as a superintendent of Bemis Point for 7 years, and we are fortunate to have him lead our school district through the new and unique challenges of these times. As an avid supporter of athletics, I am sure you will see him around the fields and courts when we get back to playing. Ladies and gentlemen, the superintendent of Dunkirk City Schools, Mr. Michael Mansfield. Sorry, put them right down.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Burnett. Good morning, graduates and guests. Wow, what a class. It's unfortunate I didn't get to know you a little bit before today, but I'm privileged to be able to speak to you for just a few moments today. I won't take a lot of your time. I know you have things to do. As I consider what I want to say to you today, it's relevant that Mr. Burnett introduced me as a history teacher. History is often our best teacher. Throughout history, there are examples of generations of individuals who have lived through extremely difficult circumstances and gone on to make extraordinary contributions to society. An example of this is what's commonly known as the greatest generation. Like you, the greatest generation lived in challenging times. They lived through the last worldwide pandemic, the Spanish flu, the worst economic crisis in our country's history, the Great Depression, and they participated in World War II. With all these historic events occurring around them, I doubt those living through that time would have imagined they would eventually participate in an era unprecedented in economic growth and prosperity, as well as advances in medicine, technology, the arts, and humanities. At that time, they did what seemed impossible and made it possible. Those who have studied the greatest generation have found that members of that generation have had inordinately successful lives, despite, or maybe because of, the challenges they faced. And this leads me to consider what has happened so far in your lifetime. You arrived in the world in the early part of this century, as the world was rocked by the terrorist attacks of 9/11, 2001, and the subsequent war on terrorism. You lived through the Great Recession, Hurricane Katrina, and you are now experiencing the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic. And therein lies my message to you. What will history record about your generation? I doubt that those in that time ever imagined they would be regarded as the greatest generation. It is my hope that Dunkirk City School District has helped prepare you for your next steps in life. Many of you have already overcome significant obstacles and challenges in your personal life in order to be able to sit here today as a high school graduate. You have already demonstrated many of the characteristics most often associated with the greatest generation. This leaves me confident that you are prepared to move on to the next phase of your life, and that the class of 2020 may someday be considered part of the next greatest generation. I look forward to hearing about your progress and your accomplishments in the coming years. I am proud of you, and I am honored to be able to speak to you today. So I would say congratulations to the class of 2020, and best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Since he's talking about history here, I just want you guys to realize you really are part of history. As far as I know, you're the first class to graduate on a football field, so congratulations. We'll always look back and think about you guys as the first. Okay, now we're going to do this a little bit different than when we do it inside here. We're going to present the diplomas to the students with the class names A through L and the top 10 students. So Mr. Jens and board president, Mr. D'Amico, will present the diplomas, but Ms. Penhollow will be the person who only touches them. To those of you in the stands, after the presentation, we kindly ask that you guys exit to the, Ms. Penhollow, that way, to your right, so that we can clear the stands. Only the parents of valedictorian, salutatorian, and class president should remain in the stands. Okay, Mr. Jens has to present the class to the superintendent now.
Thank you, Mr. Mansfield. Or Mr. Burnett, excuse me. Good morning and welcome to the members of the class of 2020. Parents, guardians, family members, Board of Education members, Dunkirk faculty, and staff, and Superintendent Mr. Mansfield. Also, I want to make a special mention and thank you to our interim superintendent, Mrs. Sylvia Root, who guided the district from July 2019 to April 2020, prior to Mr. Mansfield taking the reins. As Mr. Burnett indicated, we are going to have a little different order, as you see in your programs, because the class is split as far as awarding the diplomas. And then the addresses of the valedictorian, salutatorian, class president, and additional remarks by myself will be heard as the Group A is changing out of the stands and Group B is coming into the stands. Now, the next part is usually at the end of my portion of remarks on the program. However, we need to make modifications due to our crowd size limitations today. Therefore, the question I have for the class of 2020, are you ready to begin the final steps of becoming graduates of the Dunkirk City School District? I didn't hear you. Once again, was that a yes? Okay. Mr. Mansfield, as principal of Dunkirk High School, I certify that the members of the class of 2020 who are seated before us today have attained or exceeded the minimum number of credits required by New York State to receive their diplomas. Therefore, I present to you the 162nd graduating class of the Dunkirk City School District. Congratulations to all class of 2020 members.
Julia DeLand. Bernice Ramirez. Paula Rodriguez Ortiz. Erica Rojas. Jerica Petrella. Jeremy Bone. Malachi Nieves. Michaela Mick. Destiny Marrero. Kieralis Colon Rivera. Beyonce Acevedo. Peyton Alstrom. Naida Almastica. Madison Ask. Fletcher Babar. Brian Bain. Magali Bautista. Jessica Beeler. All right, Jess. Isabella Beeger.
Joniel Barrios. Joseph Bashelli. Alexander Bradley. Brianne Buchanan. Alicia Burgos. Xavier Carmona. Amari Carter. Gadiel Casanova.
Kenya Casey. Yuribeth Castro. Tyler Cole. Nayeli Colazo. Jalissa Collier. Caitlin Davis. Tyler Davis. Leone. Alexis Delgado.
Del Rio. Depew. Jacob Diaz. Corbin Dissel. Emily Dudzik. Dylan Dyer. Joshua Frazita. Mariah Galoniak.
Luis Gonzalez. Christopher Guadalupe Rivera. Rihanna Gunther. Gabrielle Hart. Colton Hawkins. Nicholas Hayes. Charles Jameson. Jared Kibbe. Carly Krizanovich.
Devon Kubasik. Victoria Cuiava. Azir LaFrazier. Devin Land. Ibram Lopez. Itza Yaret Lopez.
Could we please have one more big round of applause for the graduates of the class of 2020? So now, parents in the stands, we ask that you please vacate to your right. We're going to take a quick second here, and then we're going to bring up the valedictorian, salutatorian, and class president. Only the parents of those three should remain in the stands, please. Graduates, get a sip of water, take just a brief second, and we'll pick it back up here in about 2 minutes, okay? Okay. They say competition breeds excellence. And from what I'm told, this year's salutatorian was driven to be at the top of the class and had to battle with some very brilliant students to achieve her goal. Her hard work paid off, and might I add from a personal note, I am not sure I have ever seen a student who wanted to make sure every assignment was done so perfectly and methodically, yet maintained such a bright smile while doing so. A member of the National Honor Society, where she served as historian, and a member of the French Club, she spends time volunteering at a local nursing home and tutoring young children. She enjoys embroidery, needlework, and baking for her family. This year's salutatorian will be attending JCC to study nursing with the goal of becoming a neonatal nurse. She plans on traveling extensively after graduation, specifically to Italy and Japan. So I really hope her speech mentions that she needs a history teacher to be her guide. All expenses paid, of course. Please welcome this year's salutatorian, Bernice Ramirez.
Good morning to the school board, faculty, family, friends, and graduates of the class of 2020. Congratulations. At least half of you have already graduated. Today is a day that many of us have looked forward to the very second we entered the doors of a high school. At first, 4 years seemed like an eternity, as if they would never end. But looking back, we can see that it all went by incredibly quickly. It seemed like we just started school, but now here we are, graduating. There certainly have been some difficulties getting to this point. These last few months have been very different and uncertain. There even was a point where we weren't even sure that we would have a graduation. Even the weather has made it difficult and caused us to postpone to today. But rather than drawing all the attention to the challenges we have had to face to even get here today, I would instead like to focus on all the great things that have brought us here. First off, on behalf of what I imagine is from all of the graduates, thank you to the parents and family. Thank you all for your support these past few years, for being there to sign our permission slips, helping us out with fundraisers, as well as for being there at our games, concerts, and parent-teacher nights. More specifically, thank you to both of my sisters for setting a good example and for always pushing me to be better than before. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for believing in me and being great parents. Today couldn't have been done with both of you. My next thank you is directed to all the teachers. I'm grateful for the impact you've all had on my schooling. Thank you, Mr. Petro, for making Trig a much more interesting class, which is an incredible feat by itself. I will never forget the glorious mullet you had at our math competition last year. Thank you, Ms. Korzinski, for allowing me to use your many art supplies, despite me not knowing what to do with them half the time. Thank you, Mr. Wright, for being someone I could always count on for buying a chicken barbecue ticket. And thank you, Mr. Adam, for making biology a really fun class and actually being a key factor in helping me decide on my major. I can't exactly name all the teachers, but point is, thank you for the time and interest you've shown us. Thank you all also to all the coaches and music teachers for your support even after school, for showing us the benefits that come with dedication. Here's a big thank you to the friends we made or had during these many years of school. You have all certainly made school a much more enjoyable experience. I would also like to thank the school board for giving us this chance to have a graduation ceremony. You gave us the opportunity to retain some normalcy despite the circumstances. These past few months have been anything but the usual, and we've also been able to see how things can change in an instant. The future is uncertain, but something that never changes is our gratitude. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2020. We did it.
Would the parents of Bernice, Francisco, and Gloria Ramirez please stand and be recognized? I first remember meeting this year's valedictorian when she was just a shy sophomore in my wife's English class. And at the time, my wife told me that I would absolutely love having her senior year. I thought maybe it was because she was so generous with her handmade knitted gifts, and I would be the recipient instead of Mrs. Burnett. By the way, you stole me a unicorn. She did not disappoint. A genuine big heart who has always willing to partake in any activity in class, and might I add, the one who willingly yelled, "For shame," the loudest in our class game. She held the role of treasurer in art club, participated in the school musicals and French club. She loved being an active member of Envirothon and spent time working with the Create project for the school library. When she is now working at the Girl, she spends her time as a dancer and as a Girl Scout in the past. This year's valedictorian, a combination of brilliance, compassion, and perseverance. She will be taking her talents to JCC to study accounting with the goal of becoming a CPA. Julia DeLand.
I will mail you that unicorn, I promise. Good morning. I am so proud of each and every one of you for making it this far and graduating. You're probably sick of hearing it by now, but this year went so differently from what any of us could have imagined. We lost the last 3 months of our senior year, our prom, spring sports, the musical, and for a while it felt like we would miss out on graduation too. But I don't want to focus on what we've lost. Instead, I want to congratulate all of you for what you have achieved. I am so proud of you for getting through this. Not only did you have to learn the rest of your curriculum from home, but I know that many of you are going through your own struggles. These individual struggles with, say, home life or mental health are not something for me to point out, but I know they can be a hindrance to your education. Yet here you all are, and I am so beyond proud of you for doing this despite any challenges that tried to stop you along the way. I am so excited to see what we all accomplish throughout our lives. This is such a resilient group of people, and I know that no matter what gets thrown at us, we will come out okay. Thank you.
Would the parents of Julia, Ray, and Kathy Deland please stand and be recognized? This year's class president, the distinguished wrestler, was also secretary and vice president of the National Honor Society and a company commander in JROTC, where she led the color guard. She has tirelessly made efforts to make the school better and became the epitome of character and leadership. It was the senior class officers who worked with administration to make sure that you were able to have the ceremony you wanted and deserved. She has done work on the sensory walk for the blind, the deaf, and disabled. She has volunteered her time as part of the NCCS Christmas Drive and somehow still manages to work as a waitress at the lake. Attending SUNY Brockport with the goal of becoming a nurse practitioner, the senior class president, Aubrey De Leon. You have your speech, Aubrey? Yeah. Okay. Just hold it up close. You can take your notes now.
Hello, class of 2020, parents and families. I want to start out by saying congratulations to the class of 2020. I'm glad to see so many people here today. Let's all take a moment and remember who we were as a freshman. Okay, now imagine your first day of high school. I'm sure lots of you took pictures that day, or your parents took pictures. Hashtag first day of school. We all were so nervous and yet excited to know we were almost done. Time goes by and boom, we're here, graduating finally. There has been so many memories between all of us sitting here today. Between playing sports together, going to basketball or football games, and even being a part of some of the greatest accomplishments. For starters, being around to see multiple teams like the football team, basketball team, and the bowling team bring home some titles and recognition, as well as track and wrestling bringing home titles and recognition. Each team became champs and made a positive impact on our school. Being able to cherish these special moments were an honor and a privilege. It was very well deserved. Cherish these moments because now most of us are adults and moving on to the next chapter of our lives. Many of our friendships might come to a sad end, but hey, life goes on. I know there will be some tears shed today, and if not this ceremony, the slideshow will definitely get you. Don't be sad. It's time to move on to bigger and better things. Although our last year was definitely different because of good old COVID-19, but I promise life will keep going on. No prom, no problem. I think we all wish our senior year could have happened very differently, and I know that we wanted to just enjoy prom, our last few planned senior events, and of course, a traditional graduation. But we have so many things to be thankful for, and our health is definitely one of them. Even though our graduation may look different, here we are with a unique story to tell. We will be in history books, and who knows, maybe people will wonder who we were and how we managed to do what we did. Although the end of the year had a very rocky finish, we all managed like we always do. You all are now ready to start your lives on your own. Hopefully college won't be this chaotic, but even if it is, we will persevere. Take these experiences from high school everywhere you go, because it definitely taught us a little more than we thought. I wish you all the best of luck in your future success in life. Thank you.
I've got about 17 years left of teaching, and I can promise you guys, every year the senior graduating class comes up and says they're the best. I promise you for the rest of my 17 years, I will just say, psh, you ever hear of 2020 and what they went through? They win. So congratulations to you guys. I am required to make this statement again for the new parents that have just come in the stands. We are required to remain 6 feet apart from other attendees at all times. Please practice social distancing. You must wear your mask or face covering at all times. Please, no person-to-person contact. Do not shake hands. And when you exit, please make sure you maintain social distancing. Thank you. Now, I'd like to introduce the man who has led you through your senior year. He began his career working for Altec and then became a business teacher. He is an avid sports enthusiast and doesn't wait for me to finish, and can be found most weekends giving back to the community as a referee in football and basketball. As the former athletic director, assistant principal, and now principal, Mr. Jens has demonstrated a commitment to making Dunkirk Senior High School a school of excellence. Mr. Jens.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. Okay, to the members of the class of 2020, words cannot express how badly we feel that you were unable to experience the final 4 months of your senior year. The senior year is a very special year that marks the culmination of a 13-year journey from kindergarten through 12th grade in areas of academics, athletics, various musical performances, class activities, personal relationships, and friendships, to name a few, and each of you could add to this list. The high school was not the same without you during the last few months. It was an empty building, no laughter, no sound, hallways were bare, no chatter, no smiles, no energy, and yes, even arguments and disagreements were not there. All of this should not deter you from the fact that you still have unlimited possibilities. Each of you are resilient and innovative and can achieve great things in whatever pathway you choose for your life. Continue to challenge yourself and learn. Do not let this pandemic define who you are and what you will become. Everyone in attendance today realizes that each of you are anxious about the future, what the future holds, as today closes the chapter on your high school years and presents multiple chapters for you to choose from to go forward. Embrace your journey and let it take you where you aspire to go, whether it is to college, off to the workplace, the armed forces, or wherever the life takes you. But do it to the best of your ability. Remember to use your high school experiences to your advantage when applying to future employers, as they will ask questions like, why should we hire you? What is your greatest strength? How do you deal with situations? Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? And how do you overcome obstacles? Speaking of obstacles, I recently saw a quote made by someone that most of you will probably recognize. The quote was as follows: obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. This individual grew up in North Carolina, and as a sophomore did not make his varsity team in basketball because he was too short. Was he disappointed? Yes. Did he give up? No. How did this individual address the obstacle? It didn't stop him, it didn't turn him around and give up. He pretty much took the challenge straight on and became one of the greatest high school, college, and NBA players of all time. His name is Michael Jordan. Now, I'm not saying that every one of you will have a career like Michael Jordan. We can always have that as a major goal. I'm using it as an analogy that the same is true pertaining to everything in life. You will all have obstacles in your life. They keep coming at you in different sizes and at different speeds. You can either let them stop you, turn away from them, or meet them head on. Case in point, members of the class of 2020 here today, each of you have just took on an obstacle, the COVID-19 pandemic. It didn't stop you. You didn't turn around from it and give up. You figured out how to climb it, go through it, and work around it. You've stayed the course, met it head on, and will soon be Dunkirk graduates. In closing, I want to extend a Dunkirk Marauder congratulations to all parents, guardians, and family members of the class of 2020. Lastly, congratulations to each and every member of the class of 2020. Good luck and best wishes in your future endeavors.
We will now present the diplomas to students with the last names M through Z. But before we do, can we take a moment and thank the Board of Education for all of their hard work, not only with the school, but with also organizing the Feed More event to secure donations for our school food pantry. It's their collective efforts that ensure each and every student receives a quality education. And now, the diplomas for students with the last names M through Z.
Isabella Marshall. Caitlin McGuire. Ruben Medina Rivera. Abigail Mahia. Jose Mendez III. Eric Mendoza. Sierra Mills. Brian Montalban. Anitza Montero Vargas. Storm Montez. Caroline Morales. Xavier Morales. Caleb Mullen. Kimilandra Nance. Adam Knobs. Mitchell Newber. Xander Nitz.
Congratulations,
Nadara Odell.
Congratulations, Madara.
Taze Marie Otero. Juan Pacheco Rivera.
Congratulations, Ron.
Jonathan Panicali.
Congratulations, John.
Peter Paredes Jr.
Congratulations, Peter. Thank you.
Liliana Parker. Carlos Perez. Taylor Ranka. Alicia Rodriguez. Juan Rosado. Sol Mariel Rosado. Carlos Rosario. Alexis Ruiz. Austin Sabatino. Adam Sanchez. Alex Sanchez. Adrian Santa. Naneshka Santiago Serrano.
Thank you.
Cody Shamrock. Trevor Skelly. Olivia Smith.
Congratulations, Olivia.
Alegria Solaris. Daisha Marie Soto.
Jonathan Steckman. Earl Stewart.
Congratulations, Earl.
Kyle Stewart. Julian Thomas.
Right over here, Julian. Right over here. Over here. Over here. Congratulations, Julian.
Sarah Timmerman. Leah Tomaszewski. Crystal Torres. Michael Torres. Jeriella Valle. Max Valle Maldonado. Angelise Vargas. Flavio Vega. Cassandra Velez. Adrian Washington. Brooke Zielinski.
Congratulations.
You nailed it. Got it. Guests in the stands, as a friendly reminder, after the turning of the tassels and the closing remarks, please exit towards your left, the 6th Street side. The graduates will be exiting the other way. It is now time for the turning of the tassels. Coming up on stage to lead you in the turning of your tassels is the Spirit of DHS winner. This award goes to the student that exhibits the qualities of school spirit. Be actively involved in organizations, participating in extracurricular activities, and is known as, quote, the B, marauder for their commitment to the school. I think from her earlier introduction, you can see why this was an easy choice. We should have just given her a chair up here on stage. Making her third trip to us is Aubrey de Leon.
Graduates, if you could please stand. If you could please turn your tassel from right to left. You are now officially graduated.
Good job, Aubrey. You may sit. You get to hear one last thing from me. You have turned your tassels. You are officially graduates. There's only one thing left to do. Listen to an accomplished and noted guest who will share great wisdom that you can take with you. But due to the health regulations, we could not invite anyone else on stage. So you're stuck with me. And to be honest, I can't get my son to potty train, so I'm not sure I should be sharing any advice. So instead, I want to share a message that I received from Gadiel on one of his assignments. It was a current event article, and he mentioned, and I'm paraphrasing here, that he felt like his senior year was taken from him. He didn't get to be in Mr. Johnson's class, enjoy the school lunch, or experience all of Mr. Burnett's epic humor. That quote might not be entirely accurate, but the point was that you as a class have faced something unprecedented. The coronavirus pandemic would have been enough, but then add on a toilet paper shortage and giant killer hornets, and it's fair to feel like Gadiel expressed, frustrated and like you missed out on something. But here's my advice, and it's simple. You've been challenged. You've had to adapt to a new way of learning, a new way to succeed. You had to schedule Zoom meetings while trying to keep your job's work hours and help watch your younger siblings. You had technology issues. You had to do something that was completely unaccustomed with almost no time to prepare. You had to be adaptable. But in each one of these instances, you grew as a person. And I promise you, you will be challenged again. Gadiel's message made me think about a story I had read years earlier about a scientific study called Biodome 2. You see, the scientists wanted to test different farming techniques and growing methods in a protected environment. So they built an actual self-inclusive dome to test theories and grow plants. The most interesting thing kept happening. They would plant seedlings and small trees, and they would grow rapidly, much quicker than in nature. But before maturation, the tree would just fall over. They could not get a single tree to grow to full height inside the dome. So they started testing the bark, the wood fibers, and the roots. And they discovered that because the trees had never faced any wind, they had not produced any stress fibers, and the roots were not strong enough to hold up the tree's own weight. You see, they found out that the trees needed wind to grow properly. The tree needed the harsh winds to test it, to stress it, to allow it to grow, to become as strong as it needed to reach maturity. You have faced some of these winds, and you are now stronger for it. And I assure you that as you navigate the next chapter of your journeys, more winds will blow. In fact, sometimes it will feel like a hurricane. But there is one thing you can be sure of. You have unbelievably strong roots to help you get through the storms. Your roots are in this community and your family. Just look at the way your community came together to create a senior tribute on that fence. Sports boosters, PTO, City Hall, PBA, firemen, private businesses rallied to do something special for you. Countless people invested time and energy to find a way to make sure this graduation ceremony could happen so that you could have a moment you deserve. And I believe you understand that. Look at the tradition you insisted be part of this. Each one of you rang that bell as you walked in. That connects you with every graduate that has ever walked this stage. Life is going to take you on many different journeys and paths. It will be wonderful, but you will have difficulties. If you remember one thing, these recent events have helped you grow. The next challenge will help you grow. So even if you feel you have missed out on something, you really might just be gaining something in its place, something more meaningful and richer as you march down your road to success. And through it all, you will always have roots in this community, your family, this school, that will help you weather any storm. We're proud of you, so I ask one last time, please join me in a round of applause and a honking of the horns from the parking lots for the class of 2020. Mr. Abbey has to play the music. Mr. Abbey, we need the music.